What does that tell you?
It's obviously a perfect place to stay when you're
It would be, well, yeah, basically, it does make sense.
I found that really hard to hand you back that Guinness. I really wanted it. Hello, Play Expo! That's what I'm talking about. Give me a cheer if you're an Amiga fan. Give me a cheer if you're an Atari ST fan. Oh, hello. Oh, I'm surprised. Nice one. Right, guys, please give a big Play Expo welcome. Responsible for some of your favourite, most classic games of all time. Alien Breed, Tower Assault, Apache, Body Blows, Super Frog. It's the man himself, 20 years at Team17 and one of the founders. Say hello in Blackpool to Martyn Brown. I do my own sound effects, as you can see, Martyn. Martyn, thanks for coming. Last year we lost you, didn't you? Because of the train strikes.
Yeah, little shit.
Shit. That's not the first time someone said shit on this stage today. In fact, it's the word of the day, to be honest. Yeah. Right, Martyn. We're not gonna go back to the start. We're gonna start at the end.
Yep.
Right? Bear with me. So, what is a typical day for you at the moment? What is a sort of typical day for you at the moment?
At the moment, it's shoving a load of arcade cabinets for, because I collect them and I actually adapt them for one of the plates, so they've got a stroke, and I just, every day is a fantastic day for me messing up my arcade machines.
So how many have you got? How many arcade machines do you own at home?
35.
35? Jesus. Even these geeks don't have 35 arcade. What else have you got in your collection then? Have you got a massive...
Everything from Tempest, Asteroids, Missile Command.
Amazing.
Well, it's 35, it's a big list. Most newest I've got is probably Crazy Taxi, but it's all early 80s stuff. Stuff. It's all good stuff.
What do you play the most on? Which one's got the least dust on it?
Well, if you've ever showed, they're all covered in dust. I would say I probably play Tempest the most, because that's the game that set me off. So I can't pass it without touching it and playing it. And I can actually play it with one hand, so it's okay. And Asteroids, which have recently adapted so I can play that on joystick. I can play that on joystick. And I'm just about to adapt to Defender, so that's one joystick, one hand. And also Robotron as well, one joystick.
So are you modding them for your purposes now, or are you doing it for other people as well?
No, just for me currently. I think it may change when the Defender's finished, because nobody can play with two hands, so it'll be good when it's done. And also a good friend is helping me with Outrun and Outrun 2, putting the gear stick on a button.
Oh, nice, on the wheel?
Yeah.
I'm going to do this seamlessly and no one will notice. I'm going to switch these mics, just like that. Anyone notice?
No.
Don't do that to me. I've had a long day. Right, now we'll go traditional. We're going to go right back to the start.
Yeah.
So, it's back. There we go. You were 16 when you made your first game. You made a game on the Spectrum?
Yeah.
Henry's Ford?
Yeah, bloody hell, yeah.
Bloody hell. Shit. So I brought that up on purpose, Martyn, because do you recognise that?
Yes, Henry's right.
So what is a hoard and why has Henry got one?
For those that forget, a hoard is quite a large pile of money.
Right, I get it.
I've never seen a hoard before, but I sort of drew what it looked like.
So, there we go. Did you make this with your friend?
Yeah. Well, at college in 83.
I had a go at it before, and I could only get to that bit there where that yellow thing is.
Well, It's the only game I could finish.
Do you know what? I'm just going to do something seamlessly. And no one will notice. How's that? Did you notice? No. Lovely. We're doing well. So Henry told you made it with your friend. Was that someone who worked at Micropoles with you? Stop doing that. Was that someone that worked at because you worked in a shop in Wakefield?
Yeah, I worked in the shop. I was just at college with my mate. He was a programmer friend, and I was more design. So, well, that's what we did back then. Yeah.
So you were working in the shop, selling computer games to people?
Occasionally, yes.
And there was a big public domain kind of thing at the time, wasn't there?
That was 5 or 6 years later when the Amiga came out. About 86, 87, I got really into PD and a lot of the coders at the time, mostly in Europe. I got in touch with them and got a lot of, well, I got some really well, so I mean that's where Team17 came out after that. So
yes.
They were really talented people, encouraged them to work with us, and it was that was just such a great time.
Because you worked at the shop with Mick Robinson, who was then kind of like the business side of Team17.
Yeah. I'm going to just say, bless his soul, Mick's not with us anymore. So.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. Give us some memories of Mick.
Mick was great. His favourite statement was, "These things are always sent to trials," which invariably followed a night at the pub. And Mick didn't know much technically, but his support was profound, really. Still in touch with his son, who lives nearby, and he's a great guy, and very fond memories of Mick. So it was good times.
And if we go back to when you formed Team17, and you're all, presumably you've got a small-ish team working in an office in Wakefield, is that?
Yeah, Leeds or Wakefield, depending on which shop we adopted.
Yeah.
But we ended up owning an office in Wakefield, so which was above an arcade.
Yeah.
So we used to go downstairs, see what was the latest games that were coming out in the arcade. So you know, we take a lot of inspiration for Project X, for example, which is Gradeless or whatever else. So you know, it was just a fantastic time, just living above an arcade. And we've got a new garden now, but just great times.
And if you put the sort of one of the other key figures, how did you meet Andreas Tadic?
So Andreas, who you know, he's basically a brother. So when we were doing the public domain stuff, we got a really shit demo of a frog being in an R-type scenario. It was awful.
Like a frog shooting people?
Well, not people, but...
You're making it sound quite good.
I do apologise. It was shit. But technically, it was very good. You know, it's 50 hertz and it did all the stuff that you expected a new game to do back in 1991. So we basically kept his name on a list. So I've been working with Alistair Brimble for a few years on the music side, and I've known Rico Holmes for a long time.
Is he a kind of artist?
Yeah, he's not just a kind of artist, he's a brilliant artist. And so I had this crazy idea to talk with Andreas and match him up with Rico and Alistair as well. So I made the team, and it was quite successful. It just all hit it off. And then for some strange reason, I was lucky enough that they listened to me, and it all made sense, and we did something better together.
It's mad because you think it would be easy now for, you know, some lads in Wakefield to team up with a Swedish programmer. Is something that would happen now, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
How
difficult.
How did it happen? Yeah.
Yeah, well, everything was by the post. There was, you know, there's no. I mean, it was 6 years before the internet actually existed. So, you know, we actually phoned each other up, used the post for things. But we didn't think it was a challenge because that's how people communicated back then. Yeah. Obviously, nowadays everything's instant, more or less. So, yeah, I don't know. We were just so excited about working together and making games that we just wouldn't let anything stand our way. So.
Yeah. So there was 2 companies that came together. There's Team17, which was an.
Yeah, this is a kind of. So, Team7 were basically Andreas and Pete Torby. They weren't really a company. At the time, 17-bit wasn't a games company. I just asked them to, look, let's work together, let's forget the Team7 thing. And we just said, look, we're Team17 because we were all guys that came out of 17-bit software. And it really wasn't a big thing. We weren't building a company exactly or anything like that. It just made sense at the time. So that's what we did really. So
we mentioned Rico Horns before. Because the thing about that stands out to people about Team17 is that the games are bloody beautiful.
yeah.
Like they are bloody beautiful. Like just tell me his role.
Well, Rico was obviously a lead artist. I would say, you know, substantial part of the design because of the beautiful stuff he drew. I mean, you wouldn't think that beauty could come from a place like Doncaster, but it must have frustrated. I mean, it's just stunning artwork, and he could spend an afternoon on D-Paint, which is the de facto paint decorative of the day, and just one image would just blow us away. So he was a fantastic artist, really. So continues to this day.
There's also something about the sound of the games, and there's something about the sound that the Amiga makes as well.
I was looking at when we were doing the public domain demos and stuff at 17-bit. I got in touch with Alistair Rimble, who was very early messing about with Amiga stuff, and he'd do a lot of C64 tracks on the Amiga, just for shits and giggles, really, and it was really high quality. And so we got in touch with Alistair, and it was way before we had internal musicians or anything, but we just wanted everything to be done by Alistair. So he lived back in the beyond in Devon, so I had to go down to Devon, which is no mean feat in the 90s. Although actually it's actually easier to get to Devon in the 90s than it is now.
Fucking crazy that, isn't it?
You know, bloody trains. But his passion and ability was unbelievable. And every game, I think we developed in the first 4 or 5 years of the 90s. Everyone was blown away by the sound.
We've heard a lot about some of the software houses at the time, especially people like Imagine and Ocean Software through some of the documentaries that were around at the time, and all those stories about the people that were there with, like, you know, drinking champagne on helicopters and all that. Did you have any helicopters?
I wanted a helicopter pad drawn on the top of Team17's building, but Mick, who mentioned earlier, wouldn't go for it. Well, we had no helicopters. For champagne, we probably drink Tetlers. But
fair enough, yeah. What was the office like? Was there just loads of Amigas and...
it was just...
Big place, small place?
It was a big place, actually.
Yeah.
A big place for us. In '94, it's, I don't know, it was large. I can't remember the actual square footage. It was big. Most of the early games were developed with the guys being at home because they were in Sweden and all over the place, really. And I think there was probably 70 people in the office, so it was quite substantial. It's still not.
And this was the 90s, so a bit of a social scene as well? Bit of a...
Well, yeah, we got
Who were your
get
main...
missed all the time, yeah.
Who were your main kind of drinking pals?
I would say the first 20 to 30 people we got on board, they were all keen drinkers. And also, at the time, I was involved in quite a drinking culture, shall we say, in the magazines, games mags. So that sort of helped everything.
Yeah, I bet it was a good night out, right?
Ones I can remember.
Yeah. Team17 is one of those software houses that when you see the logo, you sort of think of it's like a mark of quality. It's just like quality. Who would you say was your main competition at the time? Like, who were you looking at with your side eye and thinking, oh, that was a bloody good game?
Senses, Hypnosis. You could tell the people that cared. And I think when you can see teams that really cared, I mean, you got nothing but respect for them, and that I think I'm very fortunate to know people like John Eyre and people like that these days, where we talk about the mutual respect now. Back in the early 90s, and you know, we didn't see each other very often. We just saw each other's games, so that was really good. Yeah. So.
Something that you all shared in common was the challenge, I suppose, of moving from kind of 2D tile-based stuff into the 3D era.
Yeah.
Was that an exciting challenge, or did you start to think, oh, the writing's on the wall here for the Amiga? Or?
It was both, really. It was. I think at the time I took a lot of pride in saying, I'm not going fucking 3D. I'm just going to stay in 2D. Yeah. But the finances of the industry just made people want to go 3D, and you know, even like Sony, when we were doing stuff on the PlayStation the first time round, didn't want to know if it unless it was 3D, which was crazy. I mean, the rejected Worms, for example, purely because it was 2D. And it was only because of initial press of Worms that people were going crazy about it. They played, you know, oh, you've got to have this thing, it's got. And it was finally, when it finally accepted the fact, yes, you can. It was with Ocean at the time on Amiga. And the day that they said, okay, you can publish it, or you can have it published, because it was very different to how it is today, was such a great feeling, and it went on to become one of the biggest selling games on PlayStation 1, which was a huge shock for everybody at Sony. And I'd like to think that success made a difference in the industry, particularly at Sony, and not to be just so hell-bent on it had to be 3D, because people wanted good games, and people didn't want necessarily dimensional impacts.
Do you remember when you first saw Worms, and what state was it in at the time, and did your spider sense go off and you thought, oh yeah, this is...
Well, I guess it is spider sense. It was a very early version, but it wasn't that different to the end product. It was, I just saw something in it, and the fact that it was just crazy. It was nearing the end of the Amiga's time release, when '94, and it just seemed so innocently great fun. And I said on the spot, okay, we'll publish this. This has got a great chance. But I didn't think at all, I admit, that it will be anything like it's huge, it's an enormous hit. I mean, we did a big thing with Ocean at the time. We gave loads of demos where we just got people playing it, which made a big difference, because it was just at the time when I think the games market was going slightly depressing, and it was good to get a game where had so much soul to it. What was facing a big challenge suddenly didn't become a challenge.
I think you're right. I think it's the personality of the thing that stands out, isn't it? If you compare it to something, I suppose, like Lemmings, it's just got so much personality. All the individual names of the characters, the voices. There's so much to it. Are you the inspiration for a couple of the characters in the game? There is one called Matt Worm, which I'm presuming is. So there's Spadge. Is that your?
That's me. Yeah.
That's you.
There are a few things, but still we were a pretty small dev team back then, and even with all the additional sounds and everything, there's probably a dozen of us, and I was pretty close with the producers and the QA who went crazy for Worms. But we all loved the game, and it's immensely proud to have worked on it.
Yeah. Moving a bit later then to 93, 94.
Yeah.
Oasis and Blur rocketing up the charts.
Apparently there was some music going on.
There's some battle between the bands. Was there some panic about the sort of Amiga falling away to the PC?
Not panic. There was inevitability about it. And it was always seemed to be small fry comparison with the likes of Sony and big business and Hollywood was moving in, and it all became just so dramatic, where we were just good, honest Amiga games. I don't know. I mean, the industry seemed to be changing, and it was very difficult for 8 to 10 years after that, dealing with the industry, because just having to do 3D games and having to do work for hire at Team17 was difficult, because everything was original before then. And I wasn't used to being told what we had to do rather than what to do. So it was a bit shit. I think we suffered from it, but I think at that time lots of Amiga publishing developers suffered as well. So making a good deal, it spoiled the livelihood for a lot of people. What we managed to get through eventually. So.
Another standout title as well at the time, I like it anyway, Super Frog. It's just a great platformer. Is it true was Super Frog going to be a Geordie?
Yes, that's right. So I was very inspired by
Alfie, yeah.
So I approached them to get, and we were offered, I forgot, that's so long ago, I can't remember his name. We were offered one of the actors, and I asked him, well, it's not the right image for a frog.
Was he going to do the voice?
Yes, absolutely. So it's going to do the voice.
Kevin Whately, maybe?
Yeah. But it didn't happen. We actually wanted the bottle of what Luke said got used in the end, but it wanted us to be brown ale because he used to drink a lot. And they found it dismaying that I wanted to use alcohol, and this didn't happen really. But fortunately, the game was very good, so it wasn't about me. So that was one of the first times I learned it's not about you.
So he could have been jumping. Like, is it in Zool where there's them stupid lollies in the background?
The game would have been exactly the same.
It was more the marketing.
We would have just got pissed.
Nice. Why was the Amiga the machine for you at the time, apart from it being like dead sexy? Why didn't you go with an Atari ST? Because a lot of them early Amiga games, they're just like funny squashed up Atari ST games, aren't they?
One of the things about us when we started was that we wanted to do software that was written for Amiga. So it's 50 hertz, 32 hertz, occasionally more if you could squeeze out hardware sprites such as Psygnosis used to that. It was just about using the machine as RJ Miner designed it. So that's what really kicked off for us as a development team. You know, Rico and Andreas could really use it to its max.
And you wanted, correct me if I'm wrong, but you wanted all the games to be like 1 meg games, like people needed to have an upgraded memory. You know, you didn't want.
When we started Team17, they were halfway through full contact at the time, which game made in half meg. So I sort of walked into the office, or as we founded it, so fuck that, you're doing it all 1 meg. And it made a big difference. And half a meg we used as audio. So so music and sound effects. So it made a dramatic difference immediately when you played Alien Breed, and it sounded so much better than anything else. And I think if you ask anybody at Commodore, we were mostly responsible for the sales of half meg.
And it's a showcase for the machine as well.
Yeah.
You know, the difference between listening to an Atari ST with its little Spectrum music and then switching on another. Sorry, Atari ST fans. I know you're nice people, really.
Is there any ST fans here?
But there's just something about that Amiga sound. Tell me about some of the unreleased games.
That's only one.
King of Thieves. What about? Isn't there not Witchwood?
That was BC.
Right. Okay. Tell me about King of Thieves.
So it was an interesting period. It was a game that was developed by Andreas and Rico, famously for all hits before they'd done. I had a huge argument with Rico because what he'd done all looked fabulous, but it played like shit. It's boring, and it just didn't play well. And I had a big argument with Rico, and Rico seemed to tell me, but as long as we do a game that looks good, it'll sell. That's not the case. You don't get in this. It's got to be a great game. This isn't a great game, so let's work on the next. We did.
Was he gutted?
Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't talk to me for 2 or 3 years, but we got on with it eventually.
What? I'm sure that the games were inspired by presumably games that you played as a kid. It strikes me there's a gauntletty feel to Alien Breed. Is there any other kind of games that you just loved as a kid that you wanted to do like bigger and better?
I actually was into a lot of strategy games actually. So. And all the arcade games of the time, I guess, really, it's pretty obvious that a lot of the video games do it, particularly Strider and stuff like that. We mimic best we could on the Amiga with our limited funds and size of resources and things. So we probably do as close as we thought was acceptable, and what would make us proud. So I think we do that, and I hope to cover what the guys played of the games at that time. So we try to deliver something that they could be pleased about, and also. You probably cared less about Commodore at the time, but it became clear after a while that they were really into what we were doing because it was selling machines. So, but we didn't really think about selling things, about just making things that.
You mentioned Commodore a couple of times. How connected were you with Commodore? Were you talking directly to them, or
not at the time? The closest we got to Commodore in the early 90s was when the CD32 came out. We were, for the first time, invited to their offices to see the CD32, and it was quite funny because we were talking, and then it was all the Commodore guys were like, shush, 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 and a tea lady came in, then the tea lady went out, then they'd start talking, then they could show you the horrible controller. So it was very funny. But now it's quite funny when I'm at events and I see the Commodore people, they're all, it's really nice to see them and they're very complimentary. But I was like, why didn't you say that at the time? Instead of holding it back, it was all about you.
They should have left the tea lady in there. She might have had a good idea for.
She knew more about games than them.
Yeah. The internet kind of came along, well, late 90s, and do you remember thinking?
96.
96. Do you remember thinking, oh, this will change everything, or did you just think, oh, bro?
No, we would get loads of porn.
Well, didn't we all? You were there 20 years. Do you remember when you left? Did you remember thinking, oh, this has all changed since the beginning, or,
Oh, I vividly remember the day I left. Co-director accused me of pissing about, to quote a better phrase.
He said you were pissing about?
Well, she did.
Oh, she said you were pissing about.
So I couldn't share the same oxygen as her anymore.
Because you were pissing about?
Yeah.
What were you pissing about with?
Anything that didn't involve it. So,
you just thought, I'm done. Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. I think at the time, some people were saying that Team17 was perhaps going down a kind of PC to consoles, to digital, to phones, to Facebook. Were you in favour of that kind of?
Not really, no. It is. There's a certain inevitability about it, but I don't have to like that.
Yeah.
I think I was just tired of the spirit had gone a little bit. A few of the people that I was there with, that had gone great with, weren't at the company anymore, and things had changed, and it was just, there was no Amiga anymore, and things had just changed.
You've done a lot on Android since one of I didn't realise that you were behind Star Soccer.
New Star Soccer.
Yeah. I was looking at it on my phone. It's massive. Like, this is a massive game.
20 odd million.
Has anyone got New Star Soccer? That's one of my. It's absolutely a massive game. Is there something? Have you found something liberating about working on Android? Because I suppose to some degree it simplifies.
I work on games, not the platform.
You don't, right?
So it just happens to be on Android, and it's on iOS as well. I'm a big football fan. Not that you can tell it's sport leads, but and the guy who's responsible for it is fantastic. Although I've actually stopped working for 5 Aces, which is a company that publish New Star. So, other things are Ahoy, so it's interesting things at Ahoy. So next year.
Stuff going on? Anything you can tell us about?
No.
Okay.
Just currently arguing with the CEO about cats and dogs. So you won't understand right now. Maybe we'll do later.
Okay.
So,
I'll look out for that.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to go quick 5 questions.
Okay.
And then we're going to go to these guys.
Okay.
Not the Atari ST fans. Normal people. Have you got an Amiga?
I've got what?
Have you got an Amiga?
Super question.
How many have you got? 3. What have you got? 1200, 600, 500?
2, 500, 1200.
You don't like the 600?
No.
I've got one of them.
It's not personal.
Do you want to buy it? What's the best game you ever made?
Super Pro.
Super Frog. What's the best game you never made?
I don't know.
You've got no regrets, like Robbie Williams. Do you watch YouTube? Who do you watch on YouTube?
I don't watch YouTube.
Okay. Best TV program ever?
Phoenix Nights.
Best film?
Great Escape.
First girlfriend?
Sharon Lum.
She's nice.
The bitch.
Was she Atari ST fan? What's the best hotel in Blackpool?
I've not been in one yet.
What's this? Right, give me a few words on these games. Assassin.
Would-be Strider.
Okay. Body blows.
Took the piss out of Street Fighter 2 on Amiga.
F-17 challenge.
It was there and we bought it.
Nice. Worms Armageddon.
Probably the best game I've been a producer on.
Kingpin.
That was Mick's favourite Team17.
Was it?
He was a nut about Robert, so it was all about making that game.
Overdrive.
Didn't work out as planned.
A lot of things don't, do they? Project X.
Great game.
Yeah.
We had to do it.
Quack.
One of the most underrated Team17 games ever.
Check it out. Ultimate Body Blows.
More body blows.
More body blows. Henry's Horde.
First game. I was paid 250 quid for that.
Is that what they gave you? Did you get like residuals, or was that just
No, 250 quid. I bought a Commodore 128D.
with the money?
Yes.
And the rest is history.
Yeah.
That's all I've got for mine, folks. So it's now over to you. Put your hand up if you've got a question. Oh, I took you by surprise there. Right, hands up. You can ask him anything. Here we go.
Almost anything. Nothing about Sharon Lum.
We may have to delve deeper on the chat. No, right. Go for it.
You're talking about games not having like games need to have soul, and you can tell when people really care about the game. How do you think the gaming industry has changed nowadays compared to how it used to be?
Money. It's all about money. When we first started, it was sold, if you like, ironically, as a something that everybody wants to do, where it's all about finance now. Well, there's so much money. I mean, there's, games a quarter of a billion, things like that. Now, I don't know how people can get their head around that. Just the 200, 300, 400 staff for one game, and how you can really have somebody in charge of a game and direct entertainment. You just can't. I mean, it's fantastic. The PS5 and stuff like that, but I can't even imagine getting to grips with a game like that. I was very fortunate to know a lot of people at Rockstar. One a very good friend of mine who was fortunate with us anymore, who was in charge of Red Dead Redemption, and how I saw him sort of fall to pieces under the auspices of Rockstar, who, it sounds really cool and stuff, but that game killed him. So I mean, I don't want to waver off into that.
Oh, boy here. Any regrets at Team17? Your time there?
Honestly, no. I regret, I guess, slightly the way I left, but I had to do it for my own sensibility. I was going through a divorce, so I got pissed off, and it kind of, life happens.
Is there anything you want to do going forward? Anything left?
Well, I am doing things.
Yeah, but your main ambition, not just continue as you are. If there was a dream project or an idea that you've always had.
I've always got ideas and things, and doing stuff. I think the way the industry's gone, that I think games-wise, maybe the dreams probably sailed. But I'm still, the dream is to continue working with really good people, and really, if I've taken anything from the 35 years in the industry, it's working with brilliant people. So I want to do more of that.
Hello there. What's the scariest game you've ever played?
Scariest? Man United? I don't know. Nothing's really frightening.
Can we expect to see any Team17 stuff coming out in the near future on Evercade or anything like that?
You'll have to ask Team17. I'm afraid I can't speak for them anymore.
Yeah, can I ask a question? Who would win in a cage fight wrestling match, Kelvin Aston or Ian Pickles?
As much as I would like to not say, is probably Ian Pickles. Ever since we bought a book club for Kelvin as a secret Santa.
And on that bombshell, please thank the man responsible for so many amazing gaming memories, Martyn Brown!